This tutorial is to explain how to open the day and close the day using Smart Vendor. So let's jump right ahead and open the day. So the first person that comes in the morning is the person that obviously is going to count the opening float, the opening drawer. So in order to do that, you can jump right to the sale register, put their clerk number, and since they're the first person logging in the morning and that no drawer were open yet, system is asking to count the opening float, and already it's positioned on the quantity column, because what the person will have to do is for every species they'll have to count the exact amount in the opening drawer. I'm going to simplify that by putting just a few values here. Alright, so let's pretend we have $150. I'm going to save that by clicking the page down apply, and I'm going to do one transaction just so we have at least one sale to be able to count something. So it doesn't matter here. Alright, it's going to be a pretty good sale, and I'm going to split it over a few payments. It's going to be $50 cash. There's going to also have a MasterCard and a Visa for the same amount. What's left? $300. Let's did I take cash? Okay, right, let's go for the rest for Interac, and then I'm going to complete this. Okay, all right, so now we've opened our drawer, we counted our opening float, we've done some transactions. Then let's go and close that drawer. In order to do that, you have to escape the register and go into reports, drawer summary. You put your clerk number. It's going to ask you for, it's going to present you with a date range, and you'll notice that it's always today's date that are specified, which we should leave like that because we're going to count today's drawer. All right, click on page down to save. Now we are in the drawer summary window. We could have many drawers if let's pretend that there are like 2 or 3 shifts in a day, or even like there's multiple caches, and all the caches and all the drawers that were open would show here. But since there's only one station now in my setup and there's only one drawer that was open, that's why we only see one line. And what we see is that it was open on a date in a certain time by somebody. It's not closed yet and it's not counted yet. And this is what we're going to do. So first thing we should do is click on the F6 close button and answer the questions. You want to close station number 4? Yes. You want to count the drawer? Yes. And you want to open the cache drawer? I would click yes. And then we're presented with the detail of all the payments for that drawer. So payments were taken in cash, Visa, MasterCard, and debit. No returns were issued, so basically the total is equal to the sales. And now if we skip one column here on the counted column, everything's at 0. We haven't counted anything yet. And this is what we're about to do. But before we do that, let's move down to the opening and closing float. The opening float already has something. So first thing we should do is, since we're probably going to leave the same amount of money for the next day. What we want to do is open the closing float and count $150 in that case to that we're going to put aside. So here on the other line, I'm going to save some time by putting the same value here, and I'm going to apply that. Okay, so now that I've took out $150, technically what should be left is my $50 from my cash payment. So now I can go on that line and double click on it, and again count my $50. Let's pretend that everything went fine and I do have $50 that matches with the sales that the payment for the sales that I took. All right, I'm going to apply that. Then all the other payments are cards. So what you're gonna have to do is close the day on your Interac machine, and you should get a report from that machine. And that report should say exactly what you have in Smart. So we're going to go line by line, double click on it, and put the amount that you have on your Interac report. So for Visa, it should say $50. Enter and apply. For MasterCard, again, it should say same thing, $50. Enter and apply. And for debit, we should have 309.67. Enter and apply. Okay, now notice that in my variance everything's at 0 because we're balancing between the counted and the total. So now we've counted our closing float, we've counted and entered all the amount for all the payments. Now you could click on page down and save and select finish counting. You could print that report. You have two choices here. Either you print it on the small 3-inch receipt printer, or if you pick a detailed report, you would get a letter size report on your laser printer. I'm going to skip that because obviously the information is already recorded. We can always go back to it for any date. So at this point, I've closed my drawer. This means that if I go back to my register, I should have no drawer opened, and system should ask me or present me with exactly a new drawer to open. So if that was in the middle of the day, then I've counted my drawer, and now the next clerk is ready to input all the opening float and then start the day.